What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the next video in learning PHP object-oriented programming. My name is QDS Dan, and you guys watching my channel Coraywood. Alright, so we're gonna continue our discussion from the previous video about the magic methods, and we said that the magic methods overrides the default actions when object performs that actions. Alright, and we said that the magic methods comes in with two underscore, so you guys don't do by mistake. You guys write these magic methods and their reserved words inside the PHP, so you cannot create your own. You cannot create say for example your variables or methods construct. You cannot create destruct, you cannot use clone, you cannot set, get, is set, unset, and any of these magic methods. So it says sleep, wake up, serialize, unserialize, set state. So there are a few of them that I didn't mention, but I'm going to mention that in the future videos, and I'll promise that I'm going to mention that one. But for now, that we need to understand the construct. What is construct? Why we need a construct? Say for example in PHP, if you have a class name, for example whatever, say for example class XYZ, and if that's your class, then your constructor is going to be the same one. Say for example your constructor is also going to be XYZ. Same goes in Java. Same goes in because Java is written in C++, because that's object-oriented programming, and PHP is also written in C++, C and C++, but PHP handles the constructors totally differently, because PHP, because we are dealing with servers, we are not dealing with the general purpose programming. So because PHP deals with networking and servers, so that's why the PHP creates something like magic methods, and inside all of these magic methods, because if you put the same name of the class, then a lot of programmers, they do that by mistake. They put the same name of the class. Say for example in C++ and with Java or any programming language, you do not authenticate our frequently as PHP, because PHP, you guys do that like extensively and frequently. You guys authenticate, you guys bring the user, deals with MySQL, quickly fetch the user data from the MySQL, and then you guys gonna read the data, then you guys gonna update the data, then you guys gonna say for example delete the data, and all of them happen so quickly that sometimes the programmers, they get very confused and they put the same name, maybe with the same name of the class. And to prevent that one, PHP come in with the idea of construct. So put two underscore underneath, and just type the construct. Don't type the name of the class, because this is very handy. If you think from this perspective, this is very handy. Say if your class name is say register, which we all gonna do that in some stage, and if you then what are you gonna do with your model? For example, if your model name is also register, then if your say form name is also register, then for example if your method is going to be a lot of registered, so now the PHP is going to get confused if this register belongs to this register is a constructor or what, if the register is a model or what, because C++ don't deal with the models, don't deal with for example MySQL, don't deal anything got to do with the database or anything, but PHP deals with this MySQL and any other databases extensively. So we do it all the time. We authenticate, we register users, we do create, read, update, delete. So in order to avoid that, the PHP came in with a good idea. I think this is the best idea, with the two underscore, and put a construct here. That's why we have a two underscore. Even by mistake, you guys don't do this, because in order for us to do two underscores, you need to hold the shift and two underscores. We cannot just do by mistake and pretend, okay, I've done this because my hand just touch it. Your hands can touch it, okay, but your hands can't touch two at the same time. You need to think, you need to look at the keyboards, press the shift and press the underscore. That's what is called magic methods, and that's what PHP tried come up with this idea of putting two underscore, so no one can do it by mistake. And even if you do by mistake, you cannot do all of them by mistake. Say for example, in this case, register you can do by mistake by all means, because we do it register all the time. In one program, you guys might, for example, write 1000 register in just a small script, or 1000 login, because you want to log the user in to for authentication, for say for example, making your website very strong, or authenticate the user, or putting hash, or putting this that. But you cannot use this one. There's no way you can use this one. Alright, so as we said that this video is about the constructor, and we're gonna show you all what's a constructor. So now we're gonna come here and create our class. This is our first class, and that's class, for example, we're gonna name it social web. Alright, so we have a social web in our PHP. That's our first, so we pretend that we are making social website, a huge social website, and this is the first class. And now we could put our first property, and the first properties, for example, we're going to put a name, our username, our we can put a first name, for example. So we're going to put a full name, which later on you can just put a name, or you can put anything that you guys like. So this full name is our username, for example. Okay, now we're gonna come here and put a function, put a two underscore, and put a construct. So as I said that even now we didn't do that. There's no way we can do this intentionally, and you guys gonna come to tell me that look, Mr. Yazdani, I've done that unintentionally. I've typed this function and two underscore construct. There's no way. So here we're gonna put a, for example, we have a full name, and we gonna you can put a first name or username, whatever you guys want to put. So you can put a, say for example, name. So now this name is your parameter inside this constructor, and this is your property inside this class. As we all know that previously we have created our classes here, but we didn't have any constructor. So how the PHP instantiated this one? Because this one happens behind the scene. Even if you guys don't do your constructor, the PHP is going to create for you by default. So every class, as soon as you put the class name, you kind of come put your blocks here. As soon as you're going to come, the PHP realizes that this is a class and this is a method, and I'm going to create the constructor for you. So your constructor is created by default, just like a C, C++, Java, whatever you object-oriented programming languages, Ruby, whatever the programming languages, object-oriented programming languages you can think of, they all have a constructor, and it happens behind the scene. You guys don't even see it. But for us to getting very complicated and make it like a customize or class or something like that, then you guys need to type the constructor by say word for word. So you guys need to put a constructor, and you guys need to put a parameter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way to parameter n. You can have as many parameters as you guys like. Okay, so now we're gonna come and say for example we're gonna put a this. What we're gonna do this, we're gonna use the full name, because that's our property. So we're gonna put a property full name equal to, then we're gonna put the parameter, because we're gonna put a name. Okay, and here we have a property is called full name. We are using this as because we already explained to you all about the pseudo this. This is pseudo this. Then we say that with the object operator, and we're using our property name, which is a full name, and we are assigning this name to the full name. So now this our variable here, variable have a full name. Alright, so now we're gonna come in and instantiate our class, and you guys know by now should have a very clear understanding of the instantiation. For example, now we're gonna put object one, our obj1, our you can think of any other things that you guys like. Say for example we can put a user1, user. And now what you guys is going to do, that you guys we're going to use a new, we're going to put a social web. Okay, so now the social web, we need to put something here, because here our constructor have a name parameter. We need to put some parameter. If you don't, then you're going to get an error. For example, if you don't, then the PHP is going to be very furious. So for example, here we did not put anything here, because the reason we didn't put anything here is because we don't have a constructor here. But if you leave it empty, for example, then the PHP is going to get mad. Say for example, we're going to come here and we put echo, and we put a user, that's our object, and we try to access our property. Say for example, our property is full name. So if you go come here and try to access your property, this guy here, then the PHP is going to get extremely mad, because you guys have something here and you don't put, you need to put something here because we have a parameter here. So we're going to put something, say for example, George Washington, or Joe Biden, or George Washington. Alright, so now we have a class, we have a property, full name, we have a constructor, and we put a parameter here. We assign this parameter to this property. Here we have an object, and we need to put some sort of parameter here, and we use echo, that's our objects, and we're going to access that to that parameter, to that property. Okay, so now we're going to come and we refresh, and we're going to see what is the name of the class. The name of the class is constructor, and we're going to see the constructor is here, and you're going to see that George Washington is here. We can make it a bit nicer, so we can put a, say for example, put a concatenation and put a our first user is, and you can make it a bit nicer for yourself, so it's going to be more readable. Our first user is George Washington. Alright, so now we can have multiple for example parameter here. So for example, if you're going to remove this, then we're going to be a little bit, we're going to get a little bit cheeky, and we're going to remove this one, say, to see what happens. So because we are a bit cheeky, it says fatal error, uncaught argument, count error, too few arguments to function social map, construct, 0 passed. It means that you guys have this one here as a parameter, but you don't pass anything as an argument. As I said to you, because we are a bit cheeky now, because we want to test the computers, and we say what happens if you put a parameter here but we don't put anything here inside our class here. So that's what the PHP is going to say look, there's a serious problem here, fatal error. It means that too few arguments you guys provided. You guys put a 0 pass. It means you guys didn't pass anything. When you have something here and don't put anything here, it means it's 0 pass. You guys need to pass something here. The PHP is gonna, but something is means that's gonna be any type of the variable. Say for example, we pass 12, to see what happens. So we're gonna need to put up 12, press save, and to see, then the PHP is happy. It says that's fine, as long as you give me something here which I was expecting, and you put a 12, and by all means that's fine. So we're going to change it. Say for example, we're going to put a George Washington. Alright, so now you can have for example multiple objects here, because we have a parameter here and we have a constructor here. And how about you guys might think that can have only one. Now you can have multiple, for example, objects here, and you can output from all of the objects, because this one just once, because it's called code reusability. So for example, say user 1, and then we can put a user 2. This one's gonna be, say for example, Donald Trump, and this guy is gonna be here, for example, Joe Biden. We have now we have 3 users. We have a users, we don't put anything, we just put a user 1 or user 2. So we're gonna come and put a nice message here. We're gonna say our second user, our third user. Don't worry about this one because I put this uppercase, but just because if you guys needs to understand this one, we just try to, for example, try to understand the concept of the constructors and magic methods. Okay, we are not going to pay attention to spelling mistakes, things like that. We're going to pay attention to the codes here. Okay, so here now we have user 0, user 1, and user 2. So we have 3 users here, and I'm gonna put some sort of echo break to break the lines. We're gonna break the lines, and I'm gonna break this line as well. We're gonna put echo, and we're gonna put a break line. Okay, so we're gonna come and we're gonna see we have 3 users, the first one, the second one, the third one. Even though here we have only one here, we declare one. This is why we call classes, because with the class we can have multiple maybe you can create 100 objects from one class, just like a class vehicle. And think of this as like a factory or class vehicle. We can create a class vehicle inside the factory, and the factory, for example, Ford, our GM Holden, our General Motors, our BMW, Mercedes, they build a factory, but they don't create just one type of vehicle. They create, say for example, sedan, hatchback, fast car, sports car, fast car, trucks, buses. So all of them is going to be the instances of the class, because objects are the instances of the class. They create one class, one factory, a big giant massive factory, and inside that factory they produce all sorts of the vehicles. Say for example, they put cars, trucks, vans, wagons, they put a luxury 4-wheel drive, whatever you guys think. And they can create some of them. They can even create the massive trucks, for example, like in the case of BMW, and say for example Scania or Volvo, because Volvo and Mercedes Benz, they create the cars as well as trucks. So long story short, you guys can create one class on one constructor here, and you can use it again and again and again. This is called code reusability. This is what we are talking about programming. So for programming, we can make things easier for us. We're not going to type again and again and again. Say for example 3 users, you're not going to type again and again and again, put functions for all of this. We only put one class and put one constructor, put one name, and can use it again and again and again and again and again to the lifetime of this program. Whatever the program runs, you can use this one. So that's what we use the object-oriented programming. This is the power of the object-oriented programming. You don't have to use anything. I use again and again to create objects or classes. We just put one class, like we build one factory, one giant factory, and we keep producing cars, vehicles, say for example cars, vans, wagons, any type of wagon. We can utility vehicles, we can use anything like trucks, buses, whatever we want to create. So this is the instances of the class. So it means this is a production line, and that's a factory, and this is where the engine of the factory. So this guy is here is the engine, this is the factory, and these ones are our production. So we produce here, and these are our sales rep. So because our sales rep gonna sell all this to the user. For example, they're gonna put a BMW, they're gonna put a names to whatever we produce here. We can have multiple parameters here as well, but that's going to be our discussion for the next videos, for the future videos. Keep in mind we can increase this parameter. Say for example, we can create another parameter here. Keep in mind you need to have a, say for example, a property here, say for example second, and keep in mind we can then increase this one. So George Washington, you can put an address, or you can put an address here, but that's going to be our discussion for the future videos, and I don't want to confuse you now. whenever you guys whenever we can have a, say for example, if you have one parameter, we can put a one here. But if you want to increase this one, because that belongs to your class, your constructor, then you guys needs to put another one. Say for example, if you have a one, and you can have a second, then here you guys needs to increase this one, say for example to the second, because we go according to our constructor here. If you don't put anything here, then you're going to get fatal error. So that's about constructors and about the magic methods in this video. And we're going to see that so I wrap up in this video that we have created class, we have a created property, we have created constructor, we put a parameter here, we assign our parameter to the property, we instantiated this one, and we put some sort of a message here, which are going to be some sort of argument, and our argument is going to be George Washington, Donald Trump, and Joe Biden. And that we have created multiple 3 objects from the one constructor, our one class, because objects are instances of the classes, and we are echoing all of our users, which in this case is going to be the George Washington, Donald Trump, and Joe Biden. Alright guys, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe my channel. If you guys have any question or comment, leave in comment box. Otherwise, I'll see you guys in the next video, and bye.